Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are going to demystify the massive, frankly overwhelming sea of scientific research out there. I mean, every single day, thousands of papers are published. But how is all of that information actually organized, stored, and analyzed behind the scenes? Well, today, we are peering beneath the surface. We're going to explore the invisible infrastructure, specifically the data structures and algorithms that are literally driving modern scientific discovery. Okay, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the scientific data deluge, then look at the FAIR data principles, step inside the relational schema, explore building scientific knowledge graphs, and finally, look at algorithms discovering new links. Let's get into it.
Part 1. The Scientific Data Deluge.
To really understand the stakes here, just consider this number for a second. The Web of Science database alone holds over 278 million detailed metadata records, and it connects those records with over 3.3 billion citation links, going all the way back to 1864. That is an amount of data that the human brain simply cannot process. We absolutely need machines to do the heavy lifting for us, but, machines require structure.
So we have to look at the difference between structured and unstructured data. With structured data, like what you'd find in the NIH's GenBank, you have highly curated, machine-readable formats with strict, enforced rules for things like sequence data. But contrast that with unstructured data on repositories like Figshare. That could literally be anything: a video of a cell dividing, a messy spreadsheet, or just the raw text of millions of PDFs. Trying to search through unstructured data without algorithms and schemas, it's like wandering around a giant library where the books have no titles, no covers, and no indexes. You'd never find what you need. Moving on to part 2, the FAIR data principles.
Now, to fix this giant library problem, we have something called the Go FAIR initiative, and it explicitly emphasizes this concept of machine actionability. Because the sheer volume and complexity of data are increasing so incredibly fast, these principles were designed specifically so that computational systems can find, access, interoperate, and reuse data with very minimal human intervention. Basically, we are building the ground rules for the algorithms, not just for the human researchers.
By following 4 specific steps, we create the perfect environment for these algorithms to thrive. First, data must be findable, meaning it gets a globally unique, persistent identifier. Second, it needs to be accessible through open, standardized communications protocols. Third, interoperable. It has to use a shared formal language so different data sets can actually talk to each other. And finally, reusable, meaning it's richly described with accurate attributes and clear licenses. You see, these aren't just nice-to-have best practices. They're absolutely crucial architectural blueprints for modern data structures.
All right, part 3, inside the relational schema.
Once data actually plays by the FAIR rules, it needs a home. Think of a star-like relational schema as the ultimate categorization tool. It's a classic data structure centered right on a facts table, which represents a specific item, let's say a genomic data file. Surrounding this central hub, kind of like the points of a star, are dimension tables that hold all the interconnected metadata. It basically takes a giant unstructured mess and neatly organizes it into these interlinked relational tables.
So imagine an algorithm querying a specific piece of genomic data. It actively traverses these distinct conceptual dimensions. It will check the biological dimension to find the donor or biosample. Then it navigates the management dimension to link that back to a specific project or case study. It evaluates the technology dimension to understand the experiment type, and finally, the extraction dimension to locate the exact dataset container. It's just a beautifully rigid, highly effective way to organize millions and millions of facts. Which brings us to part 4. Building scientific knowledge graphs. But, what happens when we want to move beyond rigid tables to map out really complex, flexible relationships? Let's look at MatKG, which is the largest knowledge graph in materials science. To build a massive graph like this, researchers obviously don't do it by hand. They use a transformer-based large language model, specifically an algorithm employing named entity recognition, or NER. This algorithm literally scanned the abstracts of over 4 million scientific papers and extracted 80,000 unique entities. It then categorized them into 7 core buckets, like materials, properties, applications, synthesis methods, and a few others. Now, what's really fascinating is seeing these abstract entities mapped out in a visual web. Take the material bismuth telluride, for instance. Notice how the algorithm has transformed raw text from thousands of different, disconnected papers into this connected, machine-readable network of relational triples. Applications branch out into domains like solar cells and thermoelectric generators,
while distinct material properties form their own web of connections. The data is no longer locked away in static paragraphs, it's a dynamic, living map of knowledge.
And finally, part 5, algorithms discovering new links. Okay, this is where it gets truly futuristic. Algorithms like Transy use graph embedding models to mathematically represent all these knowledge nodes. By analyzing the proximity and mathematical distance between embeddings in this huge, high-dimensional space, the algorithm doesn't just organize the data anymore. It actually finds hidden patterns and predicts completely new scientific links that haven't even been published yet. For example, it predicted a remarkably strong relationship linking beryllium as an application material for a nuclear reactor and successfully matched graphite to anodic electrodes. The algorithm is independently connecting the dots across millions of papers.
This ability to predict new links is a real game changer. I mean, algorithms powered by these advanced data structures are moving way, way beyond simple categorization. They are becoming active discoverers. They're facilitating the discovery of new properties and entirely new applications for materials. They are actually pointing researchers toward physical experiments that have a high statistical probability of success, all based on synthesizing the entire historical text of human scientific endeavor. It's absolutely wild.
As we look back at this incredible evolution, from the chaotic data deluge to establishing the rules of FAIR, building structured relational tables, and finally arriving at these predictive knowledge graphs, it leaves us with a pretty thrilling question. If an algorithm can traverse millions of papers to connect the dots we humans have missed, what entirely new breakthroughs are hiding just one algorithmic prediction away? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this changes how you view the invisible data structures powering modern science.